Okay, this is all about PowerShell versions and a brief history of each version. So PowerShell version 1 came out in 2006 and was native on Windows Server 2008. It was a big deal, but in comparison of today's version, it was very, very primitive. Not a lot of commands here. Shortly after, PowerShell version 2 was released in 2007 and is native on Windows Server 2008 R2 and Windows 7. Just to go back to PowerShell version 1, it could be installed on Windows XP to have that basic PowerShell version 1 functionality. Okay, so PowerShell version 3. There's about, let's see, it looks like 5 years between PowerShell version 2 and version 3, and there was a very big leap in its functionality. A lot of stuff got added in PowerShell version 3. And this was native on Windows Server 2012 and Windows 8. And then shortly after that, additional features have been added in PowerShell version 4, not a whole lot, but it was native on Windows Server 2012 and Windows 8.1. Another big release of PowerShell was PowerShell version 5, was native on Windows 10, and then PowerShell 5.1, which is native on Windows Server 2016. So ever since PowerShell 5.1 has been released, you can then backwards install the PowerShell 5.1 on Windows 7 and newer. So this is really great because it gives you functionality of PowerShell 5.1 on Windows 7, Windows 8, and Windows 8.1, giving you a little more flexibility in your scripting environment. And when PowerShell 5.1, it's the last, it's the latest version of PowerShell that is supported. Microsoft stopped developing on Windows 5 or version 5.1, and all they're doing is releasing bug fixes. So you're going to see 5.1 point some crazy increment number, and that's just a bug fix. So what Microsoft is now focusing on is the .NET Core framework for PowerShell. So up until 5.1, Microsoft was using the .NET framework for its underpinning development. Now with the advent of .NET Core being cross-platform, it's really not a step forward for Windows. It's really a step forward for being cross-platform. So you can still run some PowerShell commands in Linux and Windows and whatnot. PowerShell 5.1 is still the main version used in a lot of companies. I use it in production all the time. PowerShell 6, it's really not ready yet. There's a lot of modules built for 5.1 that aren't compatible with 6. It's in development. It's just not totally ready yet. So if you're looking for a PowerShell version to use, if you're not sure, stick with 5.1. PowerShell version 6 is still, it's actually going to be superseded by PowerShell version 7, which is going to be another .NET Core version development. And really, PowerShell now is incrementally upgraded on the PowerShell GitHub. So there, if you visit this link here, you'll see almost daily updates of new PowerShell versions coming out.